When an entrepreneur is looking to locate or to set up some sort of a business, what's their checklist? What are they looking?
Oh, there's many things. I would suggest quality of life is probably number one. And Brian, that's where Medicine Hat is such a leader. I mean, I've lived here since 1974. My wife Frances and I, and you know what a great place to live for, first of all, convenience to get around. I call it the Medicine Hat curse, but if you and I agree to meet for coffee at 2 o'clock, you never get rewarded for coming early because it's so easy to get around. Everybody just shows up on time. And but for trails, for golf, our Tigers, our Mavericks, our Esplanade. I was at the Medicine Hat musical theater last night for a great production of POTUS, and there's so much going on here. And I think that has to be sold, that has to come out, and somebody has to do that. But so quality of life would be number one. Taxes and availability of labor would be number two. Again, I'm concerned that how much the city has raised taxes in the last little while. I'm concerned about our provincial budget from yesterday. 2 years in a row, they've increased the education portion of property taxes 16%. So that's going to be $200 or $300 on everybody in Medicine Hat's tax bill again this year after the province took more last year, before the city charges the extra that they charge. I'd say, darn it, Danielle, the teachers were crying for more support in the classroom, more aides. Instead, you threw money at the problem, which now we're going to pay for it. So you've cost us billions and not solved the problem. That's bad governance. And anyway, so in addition to that, Medicine Hat, we've got affordable, reliable electricity. That's good for a lot of businesses. We're on the intersection of two major highways in Alberta, which is growing. That's another plus. We just have, and the confidence for an investor to come in here and put in some money is key. And to be honest, Brian, that's one of the reasons I'm so concerned about the city building and developing the solar farm themselves. That could cost hundreds of millions of our reserves and borrowing. I'm not against the solar farm in general, but let somebody with big, deep pockets do that, not me and you and other homeowners.
You touched on just about everything I have. I've been reading on my list here.
Well, I can look at it. I can see it. Yeah.
I was thinking of you when I was reading about the provincial budget and the $9.6 billion deficit, and I had visions of your heart going.
You visioned right.
Starting to read, because you have been the champion of fiscal responsibility since I think the first time you ran for public office.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's important. If government is smaller, families and individuals are bigger, and that's what we have to be. And to be honest, Brian, I'm embarrassed. I stood beside Danielle Smith 2012 to 2014, where she hammered on fiscal responsibility, criticized the progressive conservative government at that time for going, I think it was $53 billion in debt. And then along comes Jason Kenney and the Rachel Notley and the NDP government. How often I heard him say, "Oh, you're putting Albertans $100 billion in debt. Shame on you," on and on. Now we have Danielle Smith putting us $130 billion in debt. And what's better? I mean, in spite of hardworking, great people in healthcare and education, we hear more and more about people that can't get into our health system. We hear more and more about our education slipping in terms of comparisons in the world standings. We're going $130 billion in debt, even though Premier Smith said exactly the opposite many, many times. Our kids and our grandkids are going to have to pay that off. And I believe you, like me, if there's problems, let me handle them. Don't leave them for my kids and grandkids.